The myth, the man, the guitar hero known worldwide by a single name, Slash. Not only is Slash known internationally for being a guitar god, Grammy award-winning, Super Bowl performing cartoon character in an episode of South Park, video game character on Guitar Hero, and the reason that I personally play guitar myself. Not only is he known for all that, but he's also known for his kindness and compassion towards both animals and people alike. We're going to explore 3 stories in which Slash demonstrates his compassion and kindness, and foreshadowing, I'm the recipient of one of those kindnesses. Our first Slash kindness is demonstrated towards fellow rock star Joe Perry.
Joe Perry is 59.
When Slash acquires Joe Perry's treasured guitar...
that was one of the other guitars that I had for a long time that was sort of a collector guitar. The Joe Perry replica, 59 replica that Gibson did a limited run of, and this was one of the first proofs.
In which he recorded a lot of Aerosmith's famous songs with.
Aerosmith, you guys get started, you're one of the biggest rock and roll acts in the 70s, hugely successful, and then you guys all fell on hard times, to the point where you were forced to sell your favorite guitar. Now, I'm a guitar buff. It's a 1959 Les Paul. This was a guitar that was your guitar that you used on all these classic songs that everybody here knows, and you had to sell that guitar?
Well, it was, let's see, 1980. I just left Aerosmith, and it was Christmas time, and I needed some bread, and actually I was playing Stratocasters a lot right around then, and that was the best guitar to sell. I could get rid of it pretty quick because they are very rare, and like you said, you know the value to them. So anyway, I sold it.
When I was, you know, probably 16, 17 years old, Aerosmith Live Bootleg, right, the album, on the fold out, there's a bunch of photos of them, and Joe had this Les Paul that didn't look like your typical cherry sunburst Les Pauls. I didn't even know what tobacco was at the time, but I just always remembered that was a cool looking guitar. And I think there was an Aerosmith poster that a friend of mine had where he had that same guitar. And so I just always recognized it being really cool looking, like, because of the color of it.
Let's talk about that guitar for a second.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, in the MTV generation, probably the most iconic guitar moment of my generation is you walking out of the church in the November Rain video in the middle of the desert, and you got the Joe Perry burst on. How did you come to acquire that guitar?
And really didn't think much of
And you
it.
probably sold it for not nearly what, not a fraction of what you would get for it today.
Well, let's just say I didn't bid it out, you know. I mean, there was no eBay or anything like that back then. I just called up my one of my dealer friends anyway. So,
and then, so fast forward to I guess it was 1988, and Guns was on tour, our first tour of Japan, and I got a phone call in my hotel room from management saying that somebody contacted us saying they've got this guitar that you might be interested in. It was owned by Eric Roberts and Joe Perry, and I was like, it's 59 Les Paul. I'm like, well, I mean, if it's the guitar I think you're talking about, I know exactly what it looks like. I know, you know, all the scratches and stuff on it. So send me some Polaroids. So the tour ends, I get home to my apartment in Hollywood, and I got this envelope, this big fat envelope stuffed with something, and I open it up and it's a stack of Polaroids, and it's that guitar. I could not believe it. I was like, no way. So the guy who was selling it didn't really know what he had, and I bought it for $8 grand.
time went on, and over the years, the band got back together again, and we started starting to have some success again. And I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to, maybe if I could find some of those old guitars that had gone the way of the wind, you know. So I started looking for this one, and
because I did have the original for a long time, and I bought it from some guy who had a pawn shop back in 1988. And I guess Joe had pawned it at some point, and the guy who I bought it from didn't really appreciate what he had and sold it to me for $8,000.
I had all my guitar techs out looking everywhere, and Brad walks in and said, "I know where your guitar is." And he opens up a guitar magazine, and the centerfold had Slash's guitar collection, and right in the middle was that guitar.
So Slash had ended up with your guitar.
Yeah, it changed hands and it ended up in his hands, and he's made no bones about the fact that he's been a fan of the band. And boy, I called him up and he was like, "Oh, please don't ask me, man. Don't ask me that," you know, because he did not want to get.
Let me ask you a question about November Rain video. You have all these guitars. Why? You're like, I want to use that guitar in a video and have it, or was it just?
It was just, you know, I had the guitar, I never used it in the studio for anything, and we were doing that video, and I thought, well, you know, it's a cool looking guitar, I'll use it for that. And that's you know, it didn't require a lot of thought. It was just one of those things, but it's immortalized for me in that video because that's the only, you know, that's one of maybe two things that I used it for that is now in perpetuity, I guess you call it.
Yeah. How hard was that video to shoot? Like that video, like you could
I
do that
thought
shit
that
with a
was-
drone now, and it would cost
right? I thought-
$300.
You know, I thought that was my last day on Earth.
Really?
Because that helicopter was diving at me, and I thought, you know, this will be it. So, you know, went out jamming.
Yeah.
You know.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Did you say I'll buy it back?
Yeah, I said I'll pay you whatever you want for it because it had like doubled in price by then. And
Right.
And he said, "Listen, I'll think about it." So I called him back, and over a series of months go by, and I'm talking to him, and you know, I'd ask him, and then finally he stopped taking my calls, and I finally had to. I had to sit him down.
Slash
and say,
just put his hat over the phone.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to hear that anymore, man. And I knew it was getting in the way of our friendship, and I said, "Look, I'll never ask you about it again, man. Just if you ever want to sell it back, just you know, give me a call, whatever. But I'm not going to bug you about it."
Anyway, so eventually, after years of going back and forth, I gave that guitar back to Joe. And then Gibson decided to do a replica of it.
Slash takes it upon himself to return the guitar to Joe on his birthday right before he goes on the stage. Well played, Slash.
I'm happy that Joe has his back. That was I
that
always
was really
felt like
cool of
that
you to do
was his
that.
guitar. And this one, I have a couple of these, and they sound really good, and they look great.
At
and
my
so-
50th birthday, Cheap Trick was playing. They came in to play, and I sat in with them, and in the middle of the set, my guitar tech walks up and hands me this guitar. And it was the guitar, and Slash gave it to me.
Slash gave it to you. That is a sweet guy. We have our personal experiences. We've done a lot of bits. I've done a lot of things with Slash, and he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
I'll tell you,
I can't
he's
believe
got,
he did
his
that.
heart is so big, I don't know how it fits in his chest.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah, that's a scary description. We've got to get Slash some medical attention.
This is again another scene straight out of the movie Rockstar, and something that I personally wish would happen to me just about every time I pick up a guitar. These youngsters get the thrill of a lifetime as they're performing and get an impromptu surprise guest visit from the man himself.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories where everything was as fresh as a bright blue sky. Whoa, sweet child of mine. Whoa,
armed with some insider information from my friend Keenan on how I could get Slash to smile from the front row of the audience, I took Keenan with me as a thank you, and we both got him to smile. And not only that, but Slash acknowledged us from the stage.
Wow, shut that up. Hi. I just want to introduce the Mr. Mother wonderful Mr. Mother. Yes, this is great. And this is all being
And gave me a treasured souvenir that I will never part ways with. His guitar pick. Thank you, Slash. If you enjoyed this video on Slash's kindness, you're not going to believe this one.